Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Heather, and in today's video, I am going to be helping you find the perfect sunscreen to layer with your Seint makeup. So if you're like me and you love the simplicity and ease of the 3D foundation, and even though our amazing 3D foundation from Seint does have titanium dioxide as an ingredient in the foundation, it's not considered a makeup with sunscreen just from like a regulatory perspective, probably because a little goes such a long way that you're not coating your face in this makeup like you would with a sunscreen or like what would be needed with that. And so for those reasons, even though it does have titanium dioxide, which will give you a little bit of sun protection, it's really important to add an additional layer of sun protection to your face with whatever makeup you're using. So I'm gonna be sharing 5 of my favorites with you guys today at a variety of price points from a few different companies. And these are ones that I have tried myself that I know work with the makeup, so they don't fight the cream-based product, and they work to where you can actually see it, which I have on 2 different ones here underneath my makeup that I did, so you can see the application here. But actually I have on 3 different ones. You'll see what at the end. But anyway, this video will hopefully help you determine and find a sunscreen that can work with Seint. So let's dive in. Okay, so I'm starting with a totally fresh face. So this is me, just freshly cleansed skin, a little bit of my moisturizer, and you can see that I definitely have some sun damage going on my face, though through regular facials and some pretty good skincare. I use a mixture of the ZO skincare as well as the Seint Milk collection. And I love them both, and I kind of just like switch it up, which I know you're probably not supposed to do, but that's what I do. But one thing I do want to point out is I do, and this is kind of an update if you've been following my story, so I do technically have a squamous cell carcinoma right here on my nose that you can barely see because she did biopsy it. My dermatologist biopsied it, and I will have to have that removed, which was kind of the inspiration for this video, is just stressing the importance of sun protection. Because I have to admit that while I definitely wear sunscreen when I think about it, I have not always been the best with this. So it's becoming more and more of a priority for me. And honestly, however old you are, and I've been stressing this to my daughter, my 14-year-old daughter, and even my 11-year-old daughter, that this is the time to protect your skin, not only to prevent the aging that comes from sun damage, but also just so that you don't have to like deal with skin cancer or like, you know, cutting a giant gash out of your nose, which y'all say a prayer for me. I don't know how that's going to go, but it is what it is. So without further ado, I'm going to share my 5 favorites. I realize that one of them I've got to go run and grab, but I'm going to share my 5 favorite sunscreens with you guys, and they kind of range in price. 3 of them are from actually the same brand because it's the place where I go to get my facials, my medical spa. And so I'm just going to kind of break them down with a bare face to show you, starting with the least expensive. And so when you're looking for a sunscreen to go underneath Seint makeup or any cream-based makeup, one of the biggest things is you want to make sure that it's not heavy on the silicone, because silicone will fight with the cream. So our cream makeup does kind of like, it doesn't absorb into your skin like a foundation. So if there's like a slick layer of a silicone base and you try to put that on, it can cause it to separate. So that's how you know it's not such a good sunscreen, is if it causes your makeup to separate. But no big deal, just try a different one. And the ones I'm using today, I have found to cause no problems. So the first one is from Roche-Posay. And so this is your drugstore one. It's Anthelios 50 Mineral. So I'm not a dermatologist, not an expert, but I do know the importance of using minerals because that makes it both UVA and UVB. And this one also says it has like an antioxidant. Sorry, the thing is really messy because I keep this in my golf bag half the time. But you can see when you do the minerals, and I don't know which mineral it is that causes this. Looks like this has titanium dioxide and zinc oxide in it. Titanium dioxide 6%, zinc oxide 5%. And you can see that it definitely has a little bit of a white tint to it. It does blend in, And again, our makeup will kind of cover that or counteract it. But it's just something for you to think about is, again, if you're going to be taking pictures or maybe you do content creation or maybe it's for a special event, sometimes it can cause a little bit of flashback too. But it's really not a big deal. And obviously you need to prioritize the sun protection. But as I blend this in, and I'm just going to do it on part of my face, and then I'll do the other side. As I can blend it in, I can feel that it does have a little bit of like a velvety finish, but it doesn't feel like slick. So that when I do apply the makeup, it's not going to separate, if that makes sense. So that's the first one. Now, the second one is one that this is actually what my daughter uses, and it's called Glow Screen. So this is from Supergoop. They also have I think it's Unseen Sunscreen, I think is the other one. But this one's kind of cool because, let me shake it up because I want to make sure it doesn't have any like separation on the inside. So always shake it up. But this one's got a little bit of a subtle glow to it and a tiny bit of like, I don't know if you'd call it coverage. You'll see, and you can tell me what you think. But either the Unseen Sunscreen or the Glow Screen, honestly, both work amazing with this makeup. And it's so perfect if you just want like a light coverage. And you can see there's no white going on with this one. But you can also see it's not giving me really any coverage. So it might be enough for like my 14-year-old, but this is something I would want to wear, obviously, in conjunction with my Seint makeup. So sometimes, obviously, when you are rubbing your skin, it's going to get a little bit more red. So just keep in mind that sometimes my skin's going to be a little more red. So this one is SPF 40. Hopefully you can see SPF 40. And it says this one has actually 3 different types of sunscreen that are totally different from this one. So it has avobenzene, 3%, octosalate, 5%, and octocrylene, 10%. So this one is definitely, I don't know, it says it has clean chemical sunscreen actives. Yeah, so this one's going to be more of like a mineral sunscreen. This one is going to be more of a chemical sunscreen. So I'm not one of those, I like trying to be as clean as I can especially when it comes to sunscreen. So I just look for reputable brands that I know are doing testing on their products that aren't necessarily using it as some sort of like gimmick or ploy. But usually if it's a reputable company that's not just some like big mega brand that's out there, they're going to be doing the testing and refining of their products to where it's going to be safe for your skin. So chemical, this one is mineral. So to each their own, right? Okay, so I'm going to wipe off my skin real quick and then we'll try the next 2. Okay, so next up, and again, this package has kind of gotten a little bit kind of beat up, but I keep this one in my makeup bag and it's one that I've been using pretty regularly now for, I don't know, 6 months, 4 months, something like that. And it's by Color Science, which the next 3 are all going to be by Color Science. Not an affiliate or anything like that for them. I will link to everything in the description just on Amazon, but I get my Color Science from my local medical spa. So you might have one locally. I'm always a big believer in shopping local. So do that if you can and just get it wherever you can support somebody that can benefit from it. But I'll link to it in Amazon just so that you can actually see what it looks like. You can check pricing. And of course, if it's just easier to go order it that way, you can do it that way too. But Color Science, I love this brand. Everything I've tried from them has been really great, especially when it comes to like the basics or supplements from my Seint makeup. So this one is the Total Protection No Show Mineral Sunscreen. So this one is SPF 50, says it down there, SPF 50, broad spectrum, water and sweat resistant. So this one is just zinc oxide, but it's 10%. So zinc oxide, I think, is that one that kind of makes the white a lot of times. So, oops, here you can see. And it is like more of a watery one, but they call this a no-show, and we'll see. I probably should have compared this to the less expensive, like directly the Anthelios, this one, because they're very similar, I would say. But this one, I would say, definitely goes on a little bit more sheer, especially for it to just be the zinc oxide, which I've always heard. Do you remember when you were kids and we used to have that like stripe of the zinc oxide and it used to come in a bunch of fun colors? They probably still make that. But this one, I definitely have absolutely loved using under my makeup. I have switched it out for the next one just because I'll show you why I'm obsessed with it in the next little video or in the next part of the video. But this one is really, really, really good. If you want one that's like a good mineral-based sunscreen that is, you know, basically not going to show up on underneath your makeup or mess it up. It might still flash back in photography or video, so that's something to keep in mind, but I'd say this one is pretty dang good. And again, it doesn't feel like this one feels less velvety than this one, but in a good way. Like to me, it feels, I think that's why it works so well with the makeup. Okay, so next up, and this is the one that I just started using and I fought it hardcore. It's going to seem a little scandalous, I'm not going to lie. And that is the Flex from Color Science. So this one, Sun Forgettable Total Protection Face Shield. It is SPF 50, but the reason this one's a little bit scandalous is it does have some coverage. It's got a little bit of color going on to it. So you might be like, oh, Heather, but Seint is your baby. Like, doesn't Seint give you, you know, the coverage you need? Well, yes, but like I said in the intro, Seint does not have the actual sun protection, even though it's got that titanium dioxide in it. It doesn't have the sun protection I need. So I've got to layer it with something. And this one, when I tried it, I was like, okay. So let me show you. I'll get nice and close. So it starts off white, but then watch what happens when you start to blend it in. It starts to, this is the medium shade, so it's not like, it is like self-correcting a little bit, but it just starts to kind of put like, not a thick coverage, but like just enough kind of a filter, if you will, to kind of smooth out some of the imperfections on my face while giving me sun protection, but still looking really natural. So I'm kind of obsessed. And I know you're probably like, wait, what? But this to me doesn't replace my foundation routine because I'm not getting the dimension. I'm not getting the brightness. I'm not getting the lift for my contour. And so for me, and I'll show you guys what it looks like with doing the makeup on top of it. And maybe I'll do makeup on top of this side and then makeup on top of this side so you can just kind of see the difference with them both. And I'll probably speed that up since you guys have probably seen me do my makeup a million times already on here. But do you see how it gives like a natural coverage, but it's not like coverage. So it's absolutely perfect if you are the type where you don't want like a heavy makeup look, or you want something that's just really light and easy on the go. And honestly, during the summer, I might just throw this on and do a little bit of contour bronzer, a simple little lip and cheek, and like run out the door. But this is good enough to where I can use it every day, which is what I am doing. So again, I fought this one hardcore when my esthetician originally recommended it because I was like, oh, I don't need coverage, but I love it. I love that it gives like a little bit of coverage as a starting point, which means I can use less of my other makeup. So this one is definitely my current favorite. So I'm going to do my makeup now, and then I will finish off with my last favorite, which is actually going to be one that's more of a finishing. So it's a powder sunscreen that you can put on before, but it is one that I'm going to use to show you if you want to mattify things or if you feel like you get a little shiny in the summertime. So let's do the little quick sped up makeup on both sides. Okay, so I seriously will never get over how fast this makeup is. It literally, I timed it and it took 5 minutes. I might have to do a whole episode, like kind of like a little timing thing. Like, does it really take 5 minutes? And yes, it does. So honestly, the coverage is really good on both sides. Like, you get the little foundational layer here with the Flex, but honestly, this one looks just as good. So you can see that it sits really well. It feels good. It still feels like nothing. But with my last favorite, this one's really fun. It's a powder. This one is the Sunforgettable Total Protection Brush On Shield, also SPF 50. Oh, I realized on the Flex, I forgot to say, this one's zinc oxide 12%. Wow. Okay, you guys, this one has more of a percentage of zinc oxide, but you see it like not at all. That is like magic. I don't know how that works. That's super cool. But zinc oxide is the active ingredient in both of those. And this one, let's see, okay, so this one has titanium dioxide 22.5% and zinc oxide 22.5%. So it's super pigmented. It's in a little powder. This is the this is fair. This is the fair color. I don't know. I think I've had a couple of these. But you just push it down. You kind of like do this and it'll get the sunscreen down there. And then you do this. And then what's kind of fun is you can use this to kind of mattify if you want. Now, it does have a little bit of color. I think there might be a sheer one or a clear one, which you can also use if you don't want there to be any sort of color to kind of offset your Seint makeup. But for me, I don't think this one does anything too crazy. And obviously, I already have on sunscreen, so this is a good like kind of touch up if you need it. But you can use this all over. Again, on its own, you can use it on top of whatever makeup you already use. But this stuff is super, super cool. And it's amazing, amazing, amazing for kids touching up. It's also really good for your hair to kind of touch up in your part line like that. So I love this one. That's why it's my 5th favorite to use with the Seint makeup. So I hope this video was helpful for finding the right sunscreen for you. Honestly, there's so many great ones out there. Just try it out. Try what you already have. The only one I've ever used that gave me a little bit of trouble was Elta MD. And honestly, I don't know if that was just a circumstantial thing because I've heard other people swear by it with Seint makeup. So just try anything. Just make sure you are wearing your sunscreen and layering it with the sunscreen, the titanium dioxide that's within the Seint makeup. And that will help prevent aging. It's going to keep your skin looking flawless and beautiful. And it is not going to fight the magic of the Seint makeup. So make sure to like and subscribe. And maybe in the comments, tell me your favorite sunscreen that you love, whether or not you use it with Seint already or not. And I'm always looking to try new things. So let me know in the comments. And I hope you guys have a beautiful week. Bye.